Welcome back, adventurer. This week's creatures have been described as beach party apes, a pack of ghost dogs who love to play fetch with children, and the loneliest puppy. So come, pull up a stool at Creature Tavern. Today's first creature is a real fun one, although I swear I've chased a few of these away from the cellar last weekend. I'm of course talking about the Shojo from Japanese folklore. The term Shojo refers to a mythical sea spirit renowned for its love of sake and distinct red appearance. Folks around here claim the creature resembles a magical orangutan. And fun fact, in Japanese culture, the term Shojo is also used to describe someone with a fondness for alcohol, locking in the creature's association with merriment and revelry. I wonder if we've got any of those Shojo in the tavern. Looking around, I can see a lot of red faces. So is the Shojo just your run-of-the-mill orangutan with a taste for the strong stuff? Well, not exactly. From what I've managed to gather, the Shojo is described as being bipedal and man-sized, with a long tail, white ears, shaggy red hair everywhere except their face, hands and feet, and reddish skin, especially around the face, similar to that of a drunk, just like that fella over there actually. Sometimes you'll even find these happy fairy drunks wearing garments made of seaweed, and normally just the skirt. Shojo really don't care for clothes. It's even possible to find them naked, although their hair does well to keep them modest, or so I'm told. Shojo are known to inhabit coastal regions. A few folks I spoke to said that these creatures might even live on the seabed. It seems they have a particular affection for secluded beaches and are often found romping round the shores. These creatures are believed to steer well away from the world of man, only venturing in occasionally to steal some fine alcohol, should the mischief take them. For an adventurer like yourself seeking to encounter these merry spirits, I'd suggest venturing to Japan's less travelled coastal areas during twilight, when all the best drinking's done. This will likely increase your chances of encountering a Shojo sesh. Now let's get into what these boozy beasts can do. Well, the top and bottom of it is that these creatures are pretty carefree. They spend their days chugging large quantities of sake, singing and dancing along the shores. In fact, their love and understanding for alcohol is so mighty that they're considered world-class brewers, capable of distilling a potent drink to keep their spirits high. But what do they brew with, I bet you're thinking? Well, my dear adventurer, a few of me regulars say the Shojo brew a very specific drink called brine wine, made from seawater. Now this is just a handsome tavernkeeper talking, but I think I'll try stocking this one. We might see if we can start with a guest barrel. Maybe I can even tempt you with a drink when you hear more about it. The magical sake is said to have unique properties. See that fella over there? He'd broken his leg last week, and look at him now, dancing like a feral cat. Told me he found some Shojo, even got to sample the brine wine, said it tasted delicious, and it healed his leg up proper good. But drink with caution, adventurer. This lucky liquor isn't always going to heal what ails you. You see those lads over there? The big one and his little friend? Well, there used to be 3 of the bastards. Racked up one hell of a bar tab before it happened. Word is, the 3 of them looked upon a few Shojo after stumbling home one night. Their leader waddled off, nicked the wine out of the Shojo's hand and started to swing. His mates were laughing till he started to spit out the drink, yelling about the foul taste. And it didn't take long after that. He fell to his knees, coughing and vomiting, gasping for air before eventually collapsing. Didn't see him anymore after that. And those other 2 lads, they were waiting at my door for open, with a hefty bag of coin, paid up their tab in full, and for every drink since. Oh, and if you're planning on trying to find the Shojo by sea, be careful. Although they're normally peaceful party people, if your boat strays too close to a Shojo habitat, just don't overstay your welcome. They'll start to harangue you. They might even try stealing a few barrels of booze before fleeing. So should you go out looking for a Shojo, here's what you'll need to remember, unless you want to end up like those poor lads. The Shojo are peaceful drinkers, so just mirror that. If you happen to come across any and you're desperate for a drink, then drink with kindness in your heart and you'll be fine. Now this next tip's a bit interesting. Took me a while to find, but let's say you're a bit of a fiend yourself. No judgments here. You spill more than enough coin for me, so you're good in my books. But the Shojo, they'll be able to see the evil in your heart. So if you come across any, and you still take a drink, you're going to start coughing. Your life is going to start fleeing. To fix that, simply repent. And sincerely repent. Apologise for all the rotten past events you did, and the Shojo, if convinced, they'll offer you the cure. I really do need to look into getting a barrel or two of this brine wine. I'll go check with me vitula. Why don't you get yourself something from the bar? I'll be right back. Ahoy hoy, my lovely listener. This is your swashbuckling tavern keeper. Thanks for listening to episode 2 of Creature Tavern. Hope you're enjoying the episode as much as I enjoyed making it. As you know, posting about the show using the hashtag Creature Tavern on X or Blue Sky puts you up for a chance of being immortalised as a character on the show. Maybe this time you'll be a cocky blacksmith who swears they wrestled the beast barehanded. Or maybe a scholar whose wise teachings crack the case on how to defend against such evils. Either way, your name will go down in the annals of audio history. And while I'm asking for favours, it would really help if you could tell a friend, family member or foe about the show. Keeping a tavern going with all these creatures around ain't cheap. And as you well know, we've got zero budget for advertising, so word of mouth is all we have to go on. That's it for this break. Thanks for listening. Now let's get back to the tavern. Hello again, adventurer. I see you've got yourself a creature pint. Excellent choice. Just don't ask what's in it. Ready for our second creature? Or should I say creatures? The next creatures we're looking at today are the Wisht Hounds from British folklore. But you may know them as Wisht, Yeth or Yell Hounds. And don't let the name fool you. These hounds are anything but a wish. In fact, in the local dialect, wished means something closer to ghostly, haunted or melancholy, which in my opinion still doesn't do these nightmare hounds justice. The Wisht Hounds are said to be spectral, described by many as a formidable, ghostly pack of huge black dogs, with eyes the size of saucers and great yellow fangs like those of a ferocious jungle cat. I've read a few accounts that the eyes and nostrils of the Wisht Hounds are constantly erupting in a terrifying spray of fiery sparks. Other records speak of the hounds with eyes that glow like the fading embers of a fire. And adding to their eerie visage, other stories claim the hounds are just completely headless, and that they're capable of evaporating into darkness, vanishing without a trace. The legends I've found go on to speak of a formidable huntsman leading this terrifying pack. Descriptions vary. Some depict a swarthy figure wielding a hunting pole fashioned from an old oak tree. Others portray the devil himself as the master of the hunt. I even found a few tales that declare Sir Francis Drake, the prolific slave hunter, as commander of this pack of haunting headless hounds. Regardless of who the huntsman is, you'll either encounter him walking alongside his hellish pack or atop his familiar steed. It's either a large black creature or the bleached white skeletal remains of his horse. In some stories, the steed is also, unsurprisingly, headless. The spectral hound's presence is most strongly felt across the misty moors of Dartmoor in Devon, England. Central to their legend is Wistman's Wood, an ancient oak forest nestled within. This grove, with its gnarled trees and moss-cloaked rocks, is cited as a refuge for the Wisht Hounds when the sun's high. Locals I've spoken to say the woods are actually the kennels and the starting point of their nocturnal hunt. Another significant haunt and potential kennel is the Jewstone, a towering granite outcrop overlooking the River Plym. But let's say you sleep through your alarm. You've missed the start of the hunt. Where else are you likely to encounter these startling dogs? Well, that'll be the Abbot's Way. It's an ancient road that spans across Dartmoor, extending into Cornwall. This tried path is said to be one of their favourite grounds, where the spectral pack tracks down souls during their hunts. While I was asking around about these creatures, every soul I crossed heavily warned me to avoid this route after dark, lest I wish to be prey. While Wistman's Wood, the Jewstone and the Abbot's Way are the favoured venues for the Wisht Hounds, these locations are by no means their only hunting grounds. A couple of patrons pointed me to Buckland Woods and Hone Chase, where locals frequently report sightings of the Wisht Hounds. Basically, adventurer, if you're in the Dartmoor region, give any and every woodland or country path a wide berth, lest you come face to fang with these hellish pups. So what can these dogs do? Well, unlike most dogs, these can of course breathe fire. I asked around but couldn't find anyone who could confirm whether this trait was exclusive to the head-having version. So have fun conjuring that image. They could also just evaporate into darkness, a handy trick their huntsman is also capable of, and when they're not spitting fire, their eerie howls can be heard, quickly preceded by their arrival. The folks I spoke with say any dog unfortunate enough to hear their spectral cries will die instantly, and this is a mere side horror to the real purpose of the Wisht Hounds. You see, these phantom pups prefer the flesh of man to beast, with many reports stating such. Usually a lone traveller caught while quietly wandering the misty moors, or possibly returning home after a few pints at the local tavern. But the primary game of these midnight hunts is far more sinister, for the Wisht Hounds possess an insatiable hunger for unbaptized babies and children, even going as far as to sneak into homes and rip them from their beds should they find a door open, even a crack. You're probably thinking, this can't get any worse, can it? Well, it can. What I found deep in the history of these creatures is an overwhelming belief that the Wisht Hounds themselves host the souls of unbaptized infants from previous hunts, reborn to roam the earth in a new, fearsome form. Aye, the tale of the Wisht Hounds is a gruesome one, and we're not done yet, so keep your ears open and your brew down, adventurer. I'm sure you're probably asking, what happens to the bodies they pick up on their hunt? Well, that's a mixed bag. From what I can tell, this depends on how successful the hunt's been. Some folks say they see the huntsman carry his bag back to the kennels, tossing the contents to his other hounds. More say if it's been a rather successful hunt, the huntsman's a little more generous. One man I spoke to recounted his cautionary tale. A farmer emboldened by ale, unknowingly encountering the spectral hunt. Thinking this was just some regular event, he dared to ask the huntsman to share his game. Obliging, the huntsman tossed him a sack. Happy with his free supper, the farmer opened the sack upon arriving home, only to discover horror. The bloody, tattered remains of his own unbaptized child. I came across a myriad of stories like this one, and every time it was always the parents of the child who'd receive a bloody sack, or in some cases the raw remains on their doorstep. It seems this is a common torment with the Wisht Hounds. Still with me, adventurer? You had a dead expression blanketed over your face. That one was certainly a lot, but don't fret. As always, your friendly neighbourhood tavern keeper is here with some helpful tips for staying safe during these encounters. Firstly, these midnight hunts most frequently take place on Sunday nights, so your best defence is simple. Lock the doors, draw the curtains, get the fire roaring and stay inside. I mean, still pop into your local tavern, of course, but when the moon starts to rise, you better get set to head home. But as with every creature, it's never that simple. Unfortunately, the Wisht Hounds have been said to hunt on days other than Sunday. St. John's Eve for one. So if you're out alone and you spy some flickering ember eyes, you better fall to the ground immediately and recite the Lord's Prayer. Doing so will spare you from an immediate demise, but only for a year. No one could say how you'll go, just that you'll have one last year to enjoy life. But if you're not a fan of only having the 1 year to live, or you can't remember the Lord's Prayer, and you're hanging about Dartmoor, then stay close to the River Dart. Many accounts suggest the Wisht Hounds nor the huntsman are able to cross this body, so if you hear a howl, seek refuge on the other side. And I've saved the best tip for last, adventurer. Always stock bread. Aye, simple bread. Legends say, if you're unable to have your child baptised before the midnight hunt, then stash a piece of consecrated bread under their pillow. That'll offer some divine protection. And, as luck would have it, if you haven't recently attended a church's bake sale, apparently regular bread helps as well. But I'll let you test that one out for me, adventurer. Now I think it's best we take a little break from that one, adventurer. Maybe get yourself a sandwich, little bread. I'll be right back. Hello again, dear listener. Those Wisht Hounds were something else, weren't they? Every new bit of information I found kept making them more and more horrific. Very interesting creature, this one. And speaking of interesting things, if you're interested in helping out a humble tavern keeper, it just so happens that subscribing might be what's physically holding this tavern up. And I really don't want to test that theory. So if you're enjoying your stay, I'd really appreciate the support. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or pretty much anywhere audio avians make their nests. Just search for Creature Tavern. And while you're at it, I have another quest for you. The inks on this ancient patch of script say all who review the show shall receive the blessings of Baal's great ape. If you could write even a small one, it would really help the tavern. With that, we've reached the end of this break. I promise no more interruptions today. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the next creature. Thanks again for listening. I see you've had a couple more drinks since I left you, adventurer. I don't blame you after the Wisht Hounds. Our last creature for the week is another sad one, unfortunately. But for far less horrific reasons. I'm of course speaking of the Hvcko from Seminole folklore. Its name translates to long ears, but there are some that say long legs. The creature is depicted as a large, wolf-like beast, approximately the size of a mule, portrayed with a horse's tail, pointed ears, hence the name, and fur, ranging in colour from dark brown to nearly black or slate grey. Doesn't sound too bad, does it, adventurer? Not yet, at least. These depictions go on to say the creature emits a strong, nauseating odour. Everyone I spoke to said you'll smell it long before you see it. When I was rooting around for information on this creature, I even stumbled on one account where a lady described this creature as a wolf-deer hybrid, with features that fuse the characteristics of both. But this account failed to mention the smell, so I guess this must have been a sighting from quite a far distance. The source of the Hvcko's odour has never been pinned down, but from what I've seen and who I've spoken to, the beast might be covered in boils and festering wounds that refuse to close, with chunks of rotten flesh caught in the creature's fur continuing to expire in the heat. Speaking of heat, it won't surprise you to know the Hvcko inhabits the desolate rocky areas of Florida and Oklahoma. Those inhospitable environments provide perfect isolation for such a repulsive creature. Not my words, mind you. It's almost as if the Hvcko is aware of its deadly BO, and sure, it could apply a few plasters and some deodorant to rejoin society, but that's just not its style. What's curious about the Hvcko is that unlike the previous dogs, this one seems pretty calm. It's more than happy to wander the wastes by itself. In fact, it loves its own company. But if it ever comes across a human, everyone who'd answer my questions about this creature said that there's good news and bad news. The good news is that the Hvcko is friendly. Very friendly. In fact, it'll happily pop along over to you, playfully nudging at your hand for pets. Which leads on to the bad news. You remember that smell I told you about? Well, that smell is more like a noxious cloud of disease. And the minute you take a breath in its presence, you'll begin to quickly spoil and die. In every chronicle I found, this plagued aura is so potent, it contaminates every creature it comes across. I should mention that the Hvcko doesn't appear to feel any pain from the wounds strewn across its body, so you can rest easy, adventurer. Although there's nothing to say the creature's heart won't be broken by you rejecting its incredibly eager and polite request for pets. But I guess living is more important to you. So what should you do to avoid emotionally damaging this lonely, smelly pup? Well, if you're adventuring through Hvcko territory and you're hit by the most foul of smells, turn around and leave. Walk, run, ride your horse, whatever, just go. We both know you're going to pet this dog once you see it, even knowing it'll kill you. Let's say you're nose blind, and now a Hvcko has seen you. What do? Gotta be quick. It's running over with glee in its eyes. Finally, someone in this barren wasteland to pet me. My advice is switch off all emotion. Just go numb and either run or try to slay the creature before its sickening cloud reaches you. I'd run if I were you, adventurer. Trying to slaughter a puppy that just wants a hug? God, you're colder than I. And with that, we're finished with our last creature for the week. We've learned to never lose your cool when drinking with magic beach monkeys, that a measly tuft of bread can spare you a mauling, and that some dogs simply cannot be pet, no matter how sad the puppy eyes. Now that bell means it's last call here at Creature Tavern, so grab yourself one more drink for the road, and until next time, tread carefully, adventurer. You never know when you might wander into the weird.